guys see them? So I'm out doing some garden management, getting rid of the weeds that have gotten away from me. And I wanted to bring you guys along and show you, we have a whole bunch of plants that have went to seed from last year. And I just wanted to show you guys what all that looks like. So here is our cold frame box, and this was lettuce and kale and collards and everything from that we grew over the winter. And when it started getting warmer out, it started to bolt, which just means it's flowering, it's getting ready to go to seed. So when all these seeds, or I'm sorry, when all these flowers die off, it'll turn into these cool little seed pods here. This whole thing is filled with seeds. I don't know if you can see them. They're round, they're little teeny round seeds, but all of this is all seeds. I think this is kale. Anyway, so here is all of our seeds for next year, and I will just let these dry out, and then I'll hang them somewhere, put them up somewhere in good storage, and make sure that we can use these for next year. Show you some other things that have started to go to seed too, or are bolting. Okay, so here's one of our radish beds. This is the very first one that we planted. There's also a couple rows of beets in here too. I don't know if you can see the purple, but these radishes, some of them have started to go to seed. Like this one is, let's see if I can get it to focus. This one is getting ready to flower, but here's a little radish, and then these will turn into seed pods also. So some of them that are going to seed, we are letting a lot of them that are already starting to bolt just continue to go to seed. That way we have our seeds for next year or the next time that we want to plant. Things that have bolted or are getting ready to bolt or go to seed usually does not taste as good. It'll have a bitter flavor, a stronger flavor. You can definitely still eat it. It's just it's not going to taste as good as it would if it wasn't going to seed, because the plant is putting all of its energy into creating those flowers and creating the seeds instead of putting it into the vegetable that it's growing. So there's our little harvest of radishes. This is probably actually the average amount that I get whenever I come out to pick them. And a whole lot of radishes just because we didn't really know what to do with them when they were ready to go. I do not like raw radishes like at all. They're nasty. But I have found that you can roast these like you would like potatoes. Just do olive oil or butter, salt, pepper, and throw them in the oven and just roast them up, and they're really good. It takes away that gross bitter flavor that I do not like at all. I've added them to our breakfast meals, like just scrambled eggs with radishes and like spinach, and that's really good. And adding them to tacos. So I think next year we'll definitely probably plant a lot more, since I've figured out more things that we can do with them. Lettuce bed, look how awesome that's doing. We'd totally be out here harvesting off of that right now. This is our new garden bed that we just put in this year, one of them. And then here's our cabbages. I think this is cabbage, yeah. Cabbage or cauliflower. But this is doing excellent. And then here's our onions right here. You probably can't hardly see them. It looks like grass, but point out, these are cabbages. I planted these, I direct sowed these cabbage plants all in this bed. And they are fairly, I mean, they're doing really good. They're pretty big, I mean, compared to my hand. Now this bed over here, which is, I think there's cabbages and cauliflower in this bed, but these are the ones that we started, we seed started. So started them in the cell packs and put them in the greenhouse, and then after the danger of frost, we brought them out. All it is on my hand. I mean, they're still doing great, but these, compared to the ones that I just direct sowed, is amazing. Like, I don't know if I'm even gonna waste my time next year starting the cabbages and cauliflower early in the greenhouse. I'll show you guys something else too. So those smaller cabbages and cauliflower that were up over there that I showed you, this bed was planted, was seed started at the same time. Everything was exactly the same as those smaller plants, except for, I think, obviously the soil that these guys are in is way better, because look how huge they are. Look at them. This is one plant right here. Like, look how big that leaf is. I think there's 9 plants in here of cabbage and cauliflower, and they are massive. Okay, so I wanted to show you our peas too, on our high tunnel, I guess is what it's called. Aren't they so pretty? All over, they're just taking over, which is awesome. That's what I was hoping for, that they would just run up all along and cover the panels. We have green beans on the other side too that will hopefully do the same thing. But here's a pea bloom, and this will turn into a pea like this up here. Let's see if I can get it. How pretty. I think these are called sugar magnolia peas, if I remember correctly. They're from Baker Creek. But these too, you let these get nice and big and fat, you'll be able, because see, you can see the seeds in there right now. You just let them mature and get big and fat and let them dry out on their own on the vine, and then there's your seeds for next year. Here's our just regular sugar snap peas, and they have white blossoms. And like, here's a pea. It's just so cool how it all works, I think. I also got the sugar snap peas from Baker Creek. The radishes are an Easter blend, Easter radish blend, I think. But those are from Baker Creek, and we like those. They're so pretty. There's different colors, and they have different varieties in shapes and stuff in that seed packet. So those are pretty cool. Here in the perennial garden, and there's a couple things here that have bolted. Some of them are from last season, and a couple of things from this season already that have bolted. One of them I didn't even get a harvest off of. So, but here is the first one. This is our arugula bed. There's some garlic back there from that I planted last summer that still is growing. So this has bolted pretty quickly, but just like any lettuce, I feel like lettuces bolt pretty quickly if you don't keep an eye on them or harvest off of them a lot. But see, here's one that started, if you can see, this little thing right here is starting a flower. So it'll turn into that. And then see, this one already has the little seed pods on it here. They're like brand new. I can't even feel anything in them yet, but all of these little guys right here will turn into seeds. So quite a bit of this arugula has bolted already. When I see any of it that is getting ready to bolt, I try to snip it off, pull that, like this one right here. This part right here. See how it's got this what do they call it? What do you want to, like flower heads or whatever on it. So I would just come in here and just pull that off, just like that. Try and preserve some of it, but like I said earlier, usually once it starts to go to seed and to bolt, it gives it more of a bitter taste. So next year when I plant arugula, I have a bad habit of waiting until things get big. And that's what I try to do with this arugula and the broccoli rapini up there. And I only got, you know, a couple good harvests off of this arugula, because I was like, well, I can't harvest that yet. It's not big enough. Don't be like that. Don't be like me. Just harvest it. Don't wait for everything to get huge like you see in the grocery stores, because it's not going to happen. And so here is another one. Now these are onions from last year. They get really tall. You can see a couple of them back there. Some here. So this little white thing up here will bloom and be like a big head of like little white flowers, and then the seeds will be in those flowers. You can also eat the flowers. They're really good for you and tasty, but we've just let all of these go to seed so that we have our onion seeds for next year. So if you see a scape forming like on garlic, I don't think I have any scapes forming, but if I find one, I'll show you guys. So what it just is getting ready to be a bloom like the onion. So if you catch those before they get bigger, and like I did with the arugula, cut them off, your garlic will and your onions will grow bigger. So if you're not at like the end of the season or whenever you're getting ready to harvest your onions and your garlic, you definitely want to cut those off. That way you get a better and larger onion or garlic bulb. Not that you can tell the difference much between the weeds in this bed and the plants, but I had the broccoli rapini, I don't even know if I say that right, planted in here, and here's one of them. These all totally went to seed. I didn't even get a harvest off of this bed, which is fine. I mean, it's gonna happen sometimes. But see, they're doing the same thing. Most way is to do the same thing. I'll let them get mature and dry out on their own, and then I'll hang them up somewhere for next year. Okay, so this is our garlic bed, and I actually did find a scape. So this little thing right here, it looks almost the same as the onions, but it's not quite as large yet. So what you'll want to do is come out here and we'll use scissors. I'll actually use scissors to cut this one off. And I'll probably cut it, you know, I don't know, what's that, like 5 inches off. And these you can totally eat, saute them up whenever they're delicious. So this is what the garlic scape looks like before it gets the big flower bulb head on it like the onions over there that I showed you do. plant will continue to put their energy down into growing the bulb and making the bulb bigger instead of its energy in the flower and flowering and making the seeds. Okay, so this is the last one I got for you. This is our last plant that has gone to seed. These were turnips from last season, and I guess we obviously didn't get them all out of the ground. But we have so many turnip seeds, like it is insane how much that this has, how many seeds that this has produced. But see, and it's the same kind of this yellow flowers. I don't know if it's because if everything's in the brassica family, that's why everything looks and seeds the same. I could be totally wrong on that, so don't quote me. But here's these seed pods, and see, these seeds are a lot bigger. I don't know if you can really tell from the camera, but these are a lot bigger than any of the other ones. Like, you can actually see the seeds in there, because as soon as it warmed up, the turnips popped up and they started bolting. So these seeds have had quite a while to grow and get big and mature. Well, guys, that's it for me today. I'm gonna leave it at that. If you have any questions or any tips for us, just leave it in the comments down below. Anything helps, you know, because we're still learning, so we would appreciate it. And please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and tell your friends about us. Bye.